Good morning, YouTube. This is VidHead85, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something. I talked about masculinity versus femininity in men in one of my videos, and I also want to talk about another issue that did divide the black community and still does. Dark skin versus light skin. Now, I guess I'm more on the light skin side, although I gotta say I was kind of high yellow. And when I look back into slavery times, I remember this one guy when I was down at Evergreen Center. We had a meeting, and we were talking about something. I don't know what we were talking about. Trayvon Martin. And then it got on to light skin versus dark skin, and he basically said, I will never forget this: house nigga, house nigga, house nigga, field nigga. And it wasn't, I really can't say that he was wrong, because I would have been one of the house colors, for lack of a better term, because I hate the N-word. But I remember growing up and thinking that dark skin was ugly. And until I met this guy in high school who was really, wow, like dark chocolate. Oh, wow. And I actually have some people in my circle who are very attractive, and they're dark-skinned, but the fact that they're dark skin doesn't make them attractive any more than light skin makes someone attractive. People still can be dark skinned and ugly, same thing as light skinned and ugly. They're just shades lighter. But the other part about it was that I used to think it was ugly, and maybe because of the fact that a lot of people favored my complexion. And it was somewhat, now looking back, it makes me uncomfortable, but back then, because I wasn't as confident in myself and my appearance, I kind of grinned internally at that. And that's ridiculous now, but we also see some Tyler Perry films where Madea is a little lighter and Joe is darker, and he's the bad one. And in fact, they even, in Boondocks, they made a reference to that. The typical Winston Jerome play starts out as this. And Diary of a Mad Black Woman, for those of us who've seen Madea's, you'll pick that out right away, but this is a reference to Diary of a Mad Black Woman. A black woman is married to this guy, from the bald-headed dude from Law and Order. See, I'm leaving you, and I'm leaving you for this white hussy, which the white hussy is another thing that I'll definitely get to. And then soon enough, her faith is shattered, her heart is crushed, and this guy appears up at her door. Hi, can I rake your grass? She falls in love with the light-skinned dude. See, and cut. You think I'm a light-skinned dude that can't afford a shirt, but I love me some Jesus and I love me some you. And the woman says, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you love Jesus, you're so light-skinned. And then what ends up happening is, at the end of Diary of a Mad Black Woman, the play, she forgives her dark-skinned husband. Or actually, no. In the play it does, but in Boondocks, however, he said, I hate, or the dark-skinned dude says, I hate some Jesus and I hate you. And the dark-skinned guy goes to smack the woman, the light-skinned guy restrains him, she gets with the light-skinned guy. And actually, they more kind of took it from the movie, because the play was also a dark-skinned man who was her husband, but the guy from Law and Order was in the movie, and Kimberly Elise played that role very well of Helen. When she started to beat the hell out of him, I was like, I don't ever want to get on her bad side. But again, the light skin versus dark skin thing. In Hunger Games, I also hear that they made the character light skinned in the movie because they thought that, or there was a theory that if she was dark skinned, they wouldn't have enough sympathy for her. We see beautiful black women like Raven, she's really light skinned, and then we see Naomi Campbell, who's, I hear, is the letter that comes after A, along with ending with itch. But we also see Tyra Banks, who's, I don't know exactly what you would qualify her as. And then we see Whoopi. I think Whoopi is a very beautiful woman too, because she's got chutzpah. And yes, that's a Jewish term, I don't care. But we see a lot of awesome beauty all across the rainbow of blackness. And we even see with, not even with blackness, but black and Puerto Rican. Vin Diesel, hell, he's hot. I don't care what anybody say, The Rock got some black in there somewhere. He can't be all Simone. But, you know, the fact is that this whole light skin versus dark skin issue, I feel that there is beauty all along the light and dark rainbow. There's even Spanish speakers that are lighter than me and darker than night. Even there's, I believe he's Cuban, this guy at work who speaks fluent Spanish, and then there is a young lady who is very light, but you can tell she's Hispanic as well. And I've also heard that there are some Puerto Ricans who are blonde hair, blue eyes. We have the Spaniards, the French, the Italians, all those other explorers to thank for that. And I want to also mention this movie, 1934 version of Imitation of Life. Imitation of Life stars Louise Beavers in a mammy role and Claudette Colbert. Claudette Colbert is a widower named Beatrice Pullman in this film, and she meets Delilah, who is played by Louise Beavers, who has a child named Piola. Now, Piola is very light-skinned. Louise Beavers' character of Delilah is very dark. And what ends up happening is the Pullmans and Delilah and her daughter, they are successful because they become successful businesswomen. Beatrice, because she took over her husband's syrup business. Delilah, because she makes Aunt Delilah's pancakes. I kind of think that that's probably an Aunt Jemima reference in there somewhere. And it's a really nice, it's an amazing movie. But what ends up happening is there is the whole, I look white, but I'm black on Piola's part. Piola is played wonderfully by Frida Washington. Frida Washington died in 1975 at a very old age, but she refused to pass. And she could easily pass for French or any other kind of European person of European descent, but she did not. If you do not know who she is, look her up. I think it's Frida or Freddie Washington, but either way, Imitation of Life. Look at it. In fact, Miss Washington, her skin was darkened so that they would not think that Paul Robeson, in one of his films that co-starred Miss Washington, they didn't want him to be appearing to woo a white woman. So, you know, that's kind of a going in a bit of an opposite direction as far as, well, and not even finding it attractive or not, but simply the reality of the time dictated that she that she wear makeup that darkened her skin a little bit. And then we have, so in the movie, it's an amazing movie. And she goes through the movie denying her mother because she looks white, but she's black, and she just can't get over the conflict of that. She can't understand, you know, why did God make me black and I look white? And, you know, I can shift that over to gay rights now. You know, like, why am I gay and everybody else is straight, but you know, everybody else, if people find out, they could kill me, harass me, or anything, make life difficult for me. But you know, but even though many people may fail to see the comparison, but it's there. It's how it is. You know, she appears one way, but she is another, and that's the whole where I link that in with the gay rights movement. I gotta stop saying a lot. I noticed that, but hell, it happens. I'm human. So at the end of the movie, it's a tearjerker, because Delilah dies at the end of the movie, but the way it is filmed and shot and written and acted out, you gotta have a box of Kleenex ready. And there goes Piola at her mother's funeral. Mahalia Jackson is the soloist at the funeral of Delilah. And then Frida Washington's character, Peola, she comes back and she weeps over her mother's grave, and she says, "Mother, mother, mother." And she comes to the realization that all her life, my mother lived for me. She never lived for herself. And this is a sad reality that because of racism, this ended up happening. This may have very well ended up happening. In fact, there was also a cold case where there was a death of a black man and a white man were friends, and there was a very light-skinned black woman who appeared white, and she was able to pass. But this dark-skinned young man black man wanted to be with her, and something happened where basically the white man, his white friend, ended up killing him. He just lost it and hit him with a baseball bat. But again, I think it's more dealing with racism, but also we can also see the within the racism, because most of the racism I've suffered hasn't been at the hands of the white community, it's been at the hands of the black community. I remember being a kid and all the time being told I talk like a white person, so I thought that if I were white I'd be perfect. I know that's ridiculous now because I only have another set of problems. Although I would enjoy white privilege as a white male, but you know that's how it is. It's not a complaint. It's just the reality of things. So with this whole light skin versus dark skin and not being black enough or being black enough, I call it the Black Determination Squad. They can kiss my natural black ass if they think I'm not black enough because I don't use slang in every single situation, and I understand that all social situations do not call for slang. I can understand that. Most people do not. And maybe it's Buffalo, because Buffalo is such a small town anyway. It is a small town, although it's the second largest city, but I guess I don't see that. New York City is huge by comparison anyway. I want to move there one day, but who knows? So, what are your thoughts on this, on intra-racism, as far as the whole light skin versus dark skin, and people believing that one shade is more attractive than the other? And I guess sometimes I feel maybe I can't exactly talk on that and I know that this is a ridiculous thought, but for some reason, I'm really attracted to white guys. I don't know why, I just am. It just so happens that most of the men that I am attracted to that have the qualities that I look for in a man are white. It's just the reality of it. But I also see a lot of other really attractive men that are of different races and things like that, and I feel that a lot of times I'm not a person who wants to just date my own race. And I see that's an issue with a lot of black women. They don't want to date outside their race. But hell, as far as I'm concerned, if he's good to you, he can be pink for all I care. You better hold on to that man, because if you want somebody who will treat you right, and that man's treating you right, but you don't like him because of his color, then you deserve to be alone, because there are a lot of awesome men in this world, and if you give them a chance, they can be good to you. So that also means getting out of your own way, and that goes for black men, white men, black women, white women. That goes for women, period. Women, men, all. Because a lot of times we get in our own way of love. But take a look at the AC360 study on race. Take a look at the Tyra Show study on race as well. I remember seeing this young man who was Arab, who was of Arabic descent, and he often passed himself off as Hispanic or Italian because of that self-hatred of what happened on 9/11. And most oftentimes, I'm pretty sure, sometimes people think that I'm ashamed of my race because I don't act what is stereotypical of my race. But that's a problem that we have accepted that, and we have allowed that to be. But then again, like I say, it's a reality. It's a reality that we often come smack dab in the middle of. So definitely comment, rate, subscribe, if you will. I would like to get some comments on this black, white, red, green, yellow, brown, but be respectful. I will not tolerate any kind of racist comments, period, against blacks, against whites whatsoever. But the reality is the reality, and we have to deal with that whether we like it or not. So rate, comment, subscribe. See you later.